know everybody from CSG. It's our theme this night, so let's own it. It's so good to have you, everybody here. Trust your day went well, and quickly go to the chat room and tell us how your week has been, so that we can start on that soft tone. And it's a super exciting topic we'll be talking about here, conversation we're having this evening. We're having a professional speak to us. And when I saw the topic, I was thinking to myself, really, maybe at the end of this, I would um, understand fully why some leaders behave the way they do. And after this conversation is over, I'm sure everybody will have more insight into why some of our leaders are the way they are. Okay, thank you so much. So let me give honor to those who honor are due to or is due to. I can see Tagbenga Ilori, Sola Adetutu, Debola Adesanya, Bukola Femi Ajala, Bill Oladele, Douglas Doyin, Kayode Ola, Jacob Promise, Olufunke Ologun, Okeojiafo, Uchechi, Michael Ade, Razak Alabi, Remi Tanimola. And as more people come in, I would mention your name, Uchechi, and that's our doctor in the house, and Oganemaro. Yeah, Bella says it has been a progressive week. Awesome, especially at the COP meeting. Fantastic. Okay, so let's get down to the business of the day. Okay, so we have the topic for today, which has been sent to the platform. It's understanding the psychological foundations of leadership behavior. This is the very first CSG webinar series that will be handled by one of us, and I'm here to be at service this evening. Of course, we have strictly for the CSG Pioneering Cohort 1. So please enjoy and give yourself a pat on the back for having this. We are guarding this conversation within ourselves. So it's a family meeting we are having. We don't have outsiders. Thank you, Ms. Ologun. I see your clap. Awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly read the profile of our doctor today. Uchechi Chukwuma. I'm not sure if I should call you a doctor. Okay, because once I say psychologist, I automatically think that she's a doctor. Okay, so we have our professional here. She's a psychologist, the founder, Auntie Uche's Family Foundation, CEO, Constellation Synergy Limited. Uchechi is a distinguished psychologist and systems leader with over a decade of experience designing evidence-based interventions in humanitarian, emergency, and conflict-affected environments. Our expertise lies at the critical intersection of human psychology and organizational performance, having supported UN, United Nations agencies, international NGOs, and government partners in strengthening the MHPSS, mental health and psychosocial support framework at both national and interagency levels. A specialist in behavioral change, Uchechi's work spans individual and systems level engagements. She has a proven track record of building capacity in resilience, leadership, and ethical decision-making skills essential for effective governance. As the CEO of Constellation Synergy Limited and a GIZ IOM certified entrepreneurship coach, she integrates psychological insights with business development to drive sustainable growth and leadership excellence. She is an author and a recipient of the Nigerian Psychological Association Meritorious Award for Service to Humanity. Uchechi holds a master's degree in psychology and public and international affairs, making her uniquely qualified to facilitate deep dives into the psychological foundations of leadership behavior within the public and private sectors. Without further ado, can we make welcome Uchechi Chukwuma to this conversation we are having this evening. So please show us some love. We're going to have an engaging moment here this evening, and let's make it very interactive. So you have the floor, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, participants. I see you. I see you. Thank you. Thank you. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Bolanle, and a very big thank you to the management of the Citadel School of Governance for this privilege. I'm not taking it for granted. When you were reading that profile, I was just listening. I was like, what are they talking about? Is that me? So let me know if I'm audible. Let's start from there.
What did you say?
I want to know if I'm audible.
Absolutely.
Yes, you are.
Fantastic.
You are. We can hear you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. So I was saying that when Mrs. Bolanle was reading that profile, I'm like, oh, really? What are they talking about? Is a person in this call? Until she said, over to you. Well, we thank God for blessings and the opportunities. And like I said, anytime I have this kind of opportunity, I also see it as an opportunity for me to learn, because there is nobody with absolute knowledge in any area of life. We just have opportunities where we have practiced or used some skills to be able to make things work. So once more, thank you to the management of the Citadel School of Governance. Now I want to ask, if I ask I would love everybody on this call to go to the chat box without thinking too much. Put a country you would have loved to be in, maybe by birth or by opportunities, any country in the world that you would have loved to find yourself at this moment. After that, I'm going to start presenting my slide. Mrs. Bolanle, I don't know if I have that
Okay, what do you want?
Yeah, I have the am I a host? Can I do presentation? Okay, I've seen share. Yeah.
I think so. Yes,
yeah.
you are. You can share.
Please, let's be realistic, because being realistic will make this webinar interactive. Because if I actually do an assessment, all these people say in Nigeria, naturally, many of you don't want to be in Nigeria. That's the reality.
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Okay, we're here. I'm listening.
Why is he charging box?
Yeah.
But still charging.
So we have Nigeria,
Yes.
Nigeria,
36%.
Finland. So Mwa says Finland. Yes.
Yeah.
Nigeria, my reality is Nigeria. In my dreams is Finland.
Good. I love that. That's a very realistic individual. Thank you.
Please,
so
I would need
now,
Samsung. Sorry, ma'am. I would need Samsung SM to please rename yourself. Otherwise, it won't capture that you were part of this conversation. All right? Samsung, please rename yourself. Okay. We see Nigeria and UK, Tanimola. Nigeria, if your challenge is resolved. Go ahead.
We didn't say choose two countries. We said one country. And don't worry, we understand. I said without thinking it too much. This is a problem of Nigerians. We always overthink things. Can we just be spontaneous and make this sweet? Okay, fine. So everybody that said Nigeria, no wahala. Now I want to start interacting with the people that were sincere to us on this space. I am not saying that many of us that said Nigeria were not sincere, but we are here on reality. And like Mrs. Bolanle said, our goal this evening is that at the end of this hours we're going to spend, we're going to be able to contribute to making Nigeria the country of our dream. I think that's what this institution is trying to do. Now, somebody said Canada. That was the first person. Can you please unmute and tell us why you chose Canada without thinking?
Hello, everybody. Yeah. Good evening. Good evening. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir, we can.
Yes.
Thank
you. Yes. I chose Canada because I have seen things, how things have gone in Nigeria. When we were much younger, we were hopeful. We may look forward to a country where everything was working better as at the time we were growing up. But of course, as we were growing up and we saw things going bad as a result of corruption. The corruption, everybody knows that if corruption is taken out, a lot of things will be sorted out, will make Nigeria better. And of course, I'm growing up and see things going bad. Like a lot of people that have gone to these developed nations, economically, they are good. And of course, if you are a professional in Nigeria and you are not good economically, then of course, what is the fulfillment? No, no, no. If you are struggling to make a living, then of course, there's the patronage. Then of course, we have seen a lot of people dying because of a little sickness, because they cannot fund them health issue, or in fact a lot of things. So so why not move to a place where where your value will be appreciated?
Beautiful.
Yes,
Thank you so
that
much,
is it.
sir.
Thank
That
you.
was really insightful. Someone said Germany. Now I'm picking the people that didn't have options. Someone said Germany. I saw someone saying Germany on the chat box. Please, can we hear you? Why did you choose Germany of your country of interest without thinking?
Mr. Abiodun and Laurie.
Well, good evening, everybody.
Good
Okay,
evening.
As an academic, I know that I did part of my PhD and also my postdoc in Germany. And one good thing is that their researchers are well celebrated, they are appreciated. So when it comes to solving societal problems, they actually trust their researcher to, and they are well paid too. So unlike Nigeria, where we are giving peanuts, their researchers are well paid. Many industries rely on them to solve. So it's like a model of what I would love to see in my country. So that's why I chose Germany.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Is there any other person that we've not recognized that said a particular country that is not Nigeria? We are going to come home, but we want to start from why people want to go out.
Well,
anybody that
we have
maybe yes.
Mrs. Remi Tanimola says Nigeria and UK. So maybe she can have the floor.
Okay,
Nigeria and UK.
let's just pardon her because we wanted people to be standing on one line.
Okay.
So can we hear why UK became an option for you? And I saw it as a second option, actually.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, ma'am.
For me, home is home, and that's Nigeria. But when it comes to just like the last two speakers said, there are some opportunities or some privileges or some comfort that you just need to avail yourself once in a while. And that is the reason why I chose that. More in Nigeria, given the privilege and opportunity, just step out for a couple of weeks or months, just to have a better side of life. That's why. But
Thank
home
you
is
so much.
Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are back to home. All the people that said Nigeria, can one person speak on your behalf? Then others can now put their reasons on the chat box. Because like she said, it's our country. We are not going anywhere. Even those of us that have been opportune, when you go somewhere to work, it can never be home. No matter the amount of money they pay you, those nights when you wake up and you wish that your system is working so that you'll be doing the same thing in your space. They are always more than the nights that you enjoy the luxury of whatever they are giving you, because home is home. So Nigerians, why do we love our country? Just one person, others can put on the chat box because of time.
Okay.
So we need one Nigerian representative.
Evening,
and please give us a good argument. Thank you.
Good evening. Sorry, good evening, everyone. My name is Ononyebu Chukwu.
Okay, ma'am.
Good evening. It's Nigeria all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I remember each time I travel out of this country, even if I'm going to spend like a 2-month holiday or a 1-month holiday, by the time I spend like maybe 2 weeks, there's this pull to come back home. And for me, I feel it has to be here. Even before I got married, I remember my snow brother did arrange, you know, the way they used to do arrange marriage. So you just get your papers and all that, and all of that. And I refused. I said, no, I'm not going to be part of it. I mean, that's years back. That's even before Nigeria became what it is today. And even now that it is, I have this belief that I'll be able to make it here, make it big. So there's something I always tell people, we have much more than even America has, sincerely speaking. We have so much resources. that we can tap and be able to also develop our country the way the other countries are. So for me, it's Nigeria all the way. I know that there's something that may have a pull towards this nation. And I have this strong belief too that Nigeria will really, really work. So I don't think there's any other place than home but Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Douglas. That's very, very convincing. Wow. Okay, did we have people say things on the chat box? Madam
Yes,
Manley,
we
is there
do.
anything?
Yes,
Okay,
we
ma'am, can
do.
we hear?
Yes, we
Yeah.
have laugh okay, Love J. There is no place like home, and in spite of the challenges, opportunities abound. The population is there to aid investments. Marcela Sanchez says Nigeria is my choice anytime, any day. Reason is that you can hardly be a first-class citizen in a foreign land. And the weather is good. Okay. Those are the comments.
Wow, interesting. Whew. Do you know why I had to do that? Thank you, Jesus. Because if 75% of the people under the sound of my voice agrees that we all have to be in this country, it means that the 75% also agree that it is our job to find out the things that are not working and find ways to fix it. I've asked this question in a group one day, and if I had 30 people, shockingly, 25 of them had other countries immediately. In fact, they didn't think. I was so scared that day. I said, wow. So one day I'm going to wake up, possibly I will not have neighbors again. We that love Nigeria. And you know, to buttress this afternoon, I was speaking with a colleague, and he was telling me that in the hospital where he's working, that's by this time last year, there were 25 psychiatrists, like people that have background in mental health in that particular hospital. But as of this afternoon, they have only 8. But that's not where the scare is. Out of the 8, because the workload has become so much for them, they said, let them recruit. Normally, when they put out paper for recruitment, they get up to 100, 150 people. So today, he asked us, when we put out paper, guess how many we got? Everybody, some people were saying 20, 10, and 50. Amazingly, he told us they got only 3 for an advert for a job. So if there is a good time to be having this discussion, I think the school made the best choice. If we want to take it spiritual, we say the Holy Spirit minister to the school. Because I know if I ask what is the problem of Nigeria, of course, everybody will tell me leadership. But the truth is that who is the leader? Now that is the question. That's the next question. So please, can everybody tell me who is the leader? Who is the leader? Because that's the problem. Many people will tell you the problem of Nigeria is we have resources, we have manpower, but we don't have people that are blessed with the ability to synergize what we have and lead it into a place where it can make living in the country more suitable. And like my professional colleague said, she said something about appreciating the value of your work. The value of your work. And I think that is one thing everybody under the sound of my voice will love. When you put effort in something, you need an environment where your reward system, the appreciation, the recognition will marry with what you're putting in. So now, who is a leader? That is my next line of question. And because of time, beautiful. Someone said we are the leaders in our areas of influence. So we all are. Okay, can we get more? Mrs. Bonale told me to make it more interactive. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not here to share slides. We're here to talk.
Absolutely.
Okay. Exactly. Beautiful. I don't want to take it further by now saying our leaders born or made. That's not why we are here. Now, if we all are leaders, what is the problem with our country? Still using our chat box. Okay, so let me run. Okay. Thank you so much for all the contributors that are making the class lively. And please, you have every right to raise your hand if you want to speak as we start the presentation. At the end of the day, we want everybody to go home feeling heard, listening to, and sharing their own experience, because that is what we are here to learn. So I just brought different pictures of how we view leadership. But if I ask another question, what are the things that make up a leader? I can assure you that 75% will be talking about external factors that can make a leader. But unfortunately, the success of a leader, the ability of a leader to bring change, the ability of a leader to make impact is related more on internal factors. So the success rate of a leader are more of the things that make up the individual as a leader, not actually the environmental or societal issues around that individual. And I think that is why the school wants us to have this very important discussion. So who is a leader? What makes a leader? Why are leadership in maybe the places we are looking forward to going to? Why are they able to make decisions that will make their economy, their environment habitable for them? Why do we feel that with all we have, with all the education, qualifications, experiences, that we need to leave the place of where we have good food, where we have an amazing weather, like somebody said, to go somewhere else, and sometimes live under unfavorable condition, because in our own mind, we have processed that environment as a good environment that can help you flourish as an individual. So that is what we are here to do this evening. So one thing we need to understand when we want to understand any human being, be it a leader, be it an individual, be it a child, be it an adult, is one, early life experiences and interaction with others influences the architecture of human behavior. That is one background information we all are going to live with now. Number two, the sections, this is how we are going to flow. We have handled number one, who is a leader. So we are going to also look into understanding the psychological drivers of leadership behavior. And we are going to look at risk factors, blind spots, and psychological traps that may hinder leadership optimization. And of course, we're not here to talk about the problems. We're going to go home looking at what are the things that we as leaders in our different spaces can do to build the kind of society, the kind of institution, the kind of family that we need. Because if we start from the family, the society, before you know it, the country will become that country of our dream. So that is what we are here to do. So I've already asked who is the leader, and I thank you everybody for the input on the chat box. We can still have more if you think of anything. Just help us drop it there. So generally, putting everything everybody has said together, we can say that a leader is an individual who influences others' thoughts, emotions, and behavior towards shared goals by leveraging psychological processes such as motivation, social influence, emotional intelligence, and cognitive trust to bring about change in an environment. I tried as much as possible to bring the definition of leadership on the psychological makeup of the individual. Because of a truth, this is actually the core of who the leader is. Because character is everything. Some of the things we see people do and we say is because of situation, it's not always the truth. Because if you have built an enduring character, what stress we actually do is to bring out the refined you to others to see. So if you're someone here and you're always reactive under pressure, it means that there is something in you that you need to go and work on so that you can always make the right decision. Because we always excuse some of these mistakes due to situation. People will tell you, hey, it's because of the situation, it's because of the environment, it's because this happened, that happened. Yes, these things are contributors. But what we're trying to say as a psychologist is that some of the behaviors we elicit under pressure are because of some gaps in our personality built up that we need to work on. So that stress actually may bring that pressure, but the pressure will always lead you to productivity. I would love everybody to note this down. Stress will be there, but any action, decision, or part you take in handling that pressure will always lead you to productivity. At that point, we say that the individual has built an enduring character. So this is my background definition of a leader. Now, there are other things we need to know in our process of understanding the psychology of leadership. Understanding the psychology of leadership involves examining the mental processes and emotional dynamics that influence how leaders behave and how they are perceived by their followers. I don't know if you have ever led and on your way, you look back and nobody's following you. Most times it's not because of the situation. It's because of your leadership dynamics, your emotional control of the triggers in that particular situation. Leaders that invest in understanding the reason for being, because psychology is all about the reason for being. What makes you up? We bring in the childhood experiences, we bring in training, we bring in environment. Of course, our arguments on nature controversies. When you bring it together, leaders that invest in understanding the reason for being develop the ability to communicate effectively, resolve conflicts, and inspire others to reach their full potential. And I think this is what leadership should be going towards. And I think this is what leadership in the environments we want to run to. That is what they're able to do. Because you believe that if my child is an intelligent child, in this kind of environment, the society has built systems that will push him or her to the forefront to achieve their potentials. Leaders who grasp psychological principles can improve their understanding of others, optimize relationships, and read the room with remarkable accuracy. This insight enables them to anticipate and preempt issues before they escalate. Of course, when a leader has no psychological strength, most of their ways of solving human problems are always reactive. And we all know that nobody makes a good decision under that kind of state or environment. So they are able to preempt issues before they escalate, creating a proactive rather than reactive leadership style. I don't know if you have ever worked in a company where you have a supervisor or a manager that has no grasp on their self, on their emotion. One of my clients was telling me last week that she came to section because she said she's burnt out. And I asked her, what is the challenge based on your own assessment of your work environment? She told me that it's difficult for her to manage her family, and she will now come to the office to be managing a grown man who is meant to be her boss. Because in 5 minutes, the boss can give her 20 different instructions to carry out. So every day she comes to work, she's working on eggshells because she can never sit like 5 minutes to concentrate on the job she's doing. That is what happens when we have people that are leading that doesn't understand the importance of putting themselves together. They have a way of sharing their what will I call it, the chaotic spirit or energy to everybody around them. So now, like I said, most of the definitions we give for leadership is based on just action they take, the things we see them do, and most times, some of us that are very sensitive to read body languages. But beyond those 3 things that we're seeing is a depth somewhere that is not visible. Their actions are coming for the way they process things, their perspective about issues, their belief system, their feelings, their fears, and of course, their past experiences. All these things are psychological constructs. Understanding all these things gives us a better position to sit. And sometimes when people do some of the things they do, I will just be smiling because I am smiling because I want to understand that beyond this thing I'm seeing is a lack inside that this individual may not even be aware. So sometimes they normally say that psychologists, we always have this way of excusing behaviors. We don't excuse behaviors. What we do is that we have a deeper understanding that this may not be that this individual is wicked. It may be that this individual don't even know that those behaviors are not. This is the level we're looking at. and you are judging their actions based on just 3 things, and below those 3 things are the major things that control their behavior. Perhaps why we say when somebody does something and you are angry, and the moment they tell you maybe he's from this part or you say, oh, your anger will just disappear. Because based on the history of the individual that you have, we are not expecting any better than what you got. Do I have a question or should I keep on?
Okay, questions will come later. Yes.
Okay. Okay, ma'am. Thank you. So these things that we're seeing under are actually those attributes that make it possible for a leader to stop, think, and choose. Stop, think, and choose are not easy attributes of any individual. These are qualities that you need time to build. And the process of building these qualities is the first thing is for you to even understand yourself. When Socrates said, man, know thyself. Stop, think, and choose. It means that a leader has grown from being a reactive individual to a responding individual. All these are rooted in the leader's psychological makeup. So why does psychology matter in leadership? Because leadership failures are rarely technical. So sometimes it's not about the MBAs you have. It's not about the business school you went to. It's not even about the mentors or coaches. Some of them that have grown to that level that they have mentors or coaches. So most times it's not even a technical problem. You can also hear the mentors. Sometimes when you do something, your mentor will be saying like, Uchechi, we discussed about this. Why are you behaving this way? Usually failures are based on decisions, relationship, or self-regulation failure. So it's not even technical. So sometimes, that was why I said when Madam Bolanle was reading my profile, I was laughing because sometimes you read all these profiles and your expectation is so high based on those qualifications because you think that somebody who went to this kind of institution, somebody who had this kind of qualification, somebody who has expanded this number of years trying to get their academic and professional life together should be able to do more. But what do we get? The moment you hand leadership position to them, you even hear people saying, I know say school no they even school no be say person no get sense. So pressure reveals a leader's default operating style. And of course, this comes from your personality makeup. So this is why it's important to understand psychology. Why psychology again? Because most of the things that shows your leadership style are coming from your true values, your emotional regulation skills, your decision-making styles, and your level of self-awareness. I will hammer self-awareness over and over again because the first step in understanding who you are is by knowing yourself. Many of us are just living our life. They cannot even give you a one sentence of who they are. And it's not like they are not interested in understanding. It's just that the society has never made them, they have never been a challenge that made them sit up on their bed in the night and ask themselves, why am I like this? Is that something I can do to become better? Psychology is critical for leaders because under pressure, it helps them to regulate their emotions, make better decisions, understand team reactions, and prevent stress. Especially, why I'm bringing up stress is because once the leader is stressed, he has a way of sharing it. It becomes a collective stress. And that's why when you come to institutions, when you come to countries, when you come to societies that don't have good leaders, you see that almost everybody you meet on the street are stressed out. I know one country I visited in East Africa. That night when I was called to ask me, Uche, what do you think? I said, I was walking on the street and I saw everybody smiling, but I can see a very load on their head. That's how a leader can spread stress. So don't think that it doesn't concern you because you are making enough money to send your children to the kind of environment you want. But remember, there's a full attendant at the filling station that you have to attend to. When your car has a problem, you go to a mechanic. When you go to the market, even if you buy everything online, even the person servicing you online is part of the country. So there is a way this stress spreads and all of us get our little dose of it. So So by mastering psychological principles, leaders turn pressure into focused performance instead of fear-driven chaos. So I think basically that may be some of the things the people in the countries you want to go to are able to do. They've really sat down and understand the psychology of human behavior. And even from childhood, a leader already knows, when I grow up, I want to be this. And because the countries have built systems, the person starts working on him or herself to be able to fit into the system. It's not like here that anybody becomes anything. And that is why people that have not worked on themselves are given opportunity to control the affairs of other people. It will never work. And it's not because they are wicked. I have to keep on saying it. It's because they don't even know how chaotic their inability to organize themselves is affecting what is going on in the society. So this is a typical way leaders affect us. When the leader says, I feel important, and the leader asks you, do you feel important? You say, yes, I feel important. Before you know it, everybody in the group will start having this feeling, especially when the leader says it. And when you look at him or her, you can see that the person is not just saying it. The person is living it. It becomes a collective thing. And that's why countries win happy countries. Why are they happy? Because some people have taken time to build systems that is working. And whenever they interact with that system, they don't go home stressed. My friend told me that she has not gone to market for how many months of her life? Years, it's going into years now. And the reason is that there is no day she goes to market that she doesn't come home with pain. Either the way someone spoke, the way someone pushed her, something must happen. So this individual now sits on her in front of her laptop and buy everything. But you know the funny thing, she told me that at a stage, do I know that that did not solve her problem? Because most times she will pay for something and they will bring her something she doesn't like. So I guess nobody can escape this thing. And that's why it is our job to fix it. And I'm happy the school is doing that, because I think they're trying to bring up leaders that understand that leadership is a privilege. It's not a birthright. It's a privilege for you to be in a position to control and influence what happens in the life of others. But beyond control and influence, by the time we are ending this section, we should be able to see the major role of a leader, which is what one of us have already put on the chat box, but I intentionally did not speak about it. And unfortunately, most of our leaders don't even know that part. So what are the psychological drivers of leadership? They're plenty. If we start, everything here is a full section on its own. The personality traits, emotional needs, emotional intelligence, stress and resilience, social and situational context, and of course, their cognition, which is what affects their ability to make decisions. These are basically leadership behaviors. But we're going to concentrate on the one that I feel is the foundation of who a leader is, which is the personality and the traits. So number one, self-awareness. I've said it many times, which is the foundation of who you are. Because until you know who you are you aware you can never know what you can do? Until you know who you are you aware you cannot understand your triggers? Because knowledge of self is one way for you to know this is something I can do so well. This is something I cannot do so well. Then if I want to be doing it because I love it, I need to go and get the skills so that I can be able to do it. Man, know thyself. That's self-awareness. Your ability to understand what makes you behave and react the way you do, irrespective of the situation where you find yourself. That's self-awareness. The self-awareness will make you know that if I don't work out from this place, the next thing I may do may destroy what we have built over the years. And that is what will make you say, please, can I take 5 minutes? Or if you don't want to even make it official, you can just raise up your hand, please, and press, let me go and wee-wee. And you go into the bathroom and you put yourself together. One day I went to a presentation. They gave a topic, it's a big conference. So there was an expectation that in an academic environment, these are the kind of things I can be hearing. So before my time to come up the stage, the moderator was making some comments that are against my both professional, personal, and value ethics. Because I think maybe I have studied myself. Nobody was sitting smiling. But I know that if I don't do something, maybe by the time I go up the stage, I may take like 30 minutes handling this issue. And in that process, of course, the aim of the whole conference will be, of course, by the time I start bringing and countering whatever they have said, what they have said may be one of the things they have put together to make sure they get the result they want. But also they forgot that they brought professionals who understand these things more. So you know what I did? When I felt that my level of tolerance is being pushed, which is one of these that self-awareness makes you to know. At this point, I think I'm about to burst. So if I don't do something, I may do something wrong. My dear, I just stood up, carried my bag. Even though I know that I'm the next speaker, I walk like from the hall upstairs, downstairs. Then I went to the toilet there. I went to my mirror. I told myself a lot of things. I told myself, Uchechi, yes, you want to change the world, but it doesn't happen like that. You know, I had to prep myself, put my emotions in check, put my values in check, put my ethical whatever in check, put my professional whatever in check, because I had to understand that this is not Unilag. This is not a professional environment. This is a social setting. People have the right to their views. So I had to do all those things, you know, put myself in, I check my powder, put my powder, do my lipstick, and I walked back into the room as a lady. And when I went up the stage, I was able to deliver my own topic without any reference to what is going there. Now, if you don't understand yourself, I would have sat there, and by the time it's time to call me, I would have gotten to my highest level of tolerance. I may just make one statement, and that one statement will be what will ruin everything this individual put together. Now you understand why self-awareness is critical as a leader. And self-awareness, of course, is a psychological construct. Number 2, emotional intelligence. We cannot say it enough. I am happy we moved from the IQ, when they were, everything is about academic power rise or whatever, to understanding that success in life is actually your ability to control your emotions. Of course, emotions are who we are. Once there is a situation and you have a thought about it, that thought will definitely lead you to react in a way. That's what emotion is, the way we feel. So nobody can actually tell you you shouldn't feel, because feeling is part of biological system of a human being. But you can actually learn how to control those feelings, because the feelings leads to behavior. So there is this intervention in psychology we call the CBT model. The CBT model tells you something happens, you think about it, the thoughts will lead to a feeling, and of course, feeling will lead to behavior. Emotional intelligence is how to understand yourself, how your feelings will affect the interaction you're having with people around you. And that is why I called it a magic ingredient in leadership. And it's a psychological construct. We have the resilience and adaptability. My dears, I tell people, and I say it all the time, if you have not been in a position to lead, please, whenever they are discussing leadership, as much as possible, try to keep your views to yourself. Leadership is difficult. Leadership is difficult. So if you know you have not built the resilience, which is the ability to bounce back, if you know that when somebody calls you an idiot during an argument, that idiot is going to live in your heart forever. If you know that you have not learned how to separate the individual from the action, you have no business in leadership. Because of course, these are the things you'll be getting from people you are leading. Remember, all the people under you are not on the same level with you. So resilience and adaptability is your ability to navigate the challenges of leading. This is a skill and is a psychological construct. Are we going to talk about empathy? Empathy is not about sympathizing with the individual. It's not just about wearing the shoe. It's about wearing the shoe and also understanding that, yes, I've worn the shoe, but the factors that made me wear the way I wore it, this individual may not have experienced that. It gives you a high level of understanding and it makes you a good listener. And we have it on record that most good listeners make good leaders. Your ability to actually sit in the room and allow everybody, yes, most times what they are saying does not make sense because remember, they don't have the full picture. You are the leader who has the full picture. You are the one who has the roadmap. You are the one who knows where this whole thing is going to. So when people are making their contributions, they are going to be making their contribution from the little knowledge they have. Empathizing is the ability to actually calm down and understand that if they know what I know, it may not be like this. And that's why sometimes when we are agitating for things, we see our leaders not making comments, not reacting to them. Because to them, how do I explain? Because it's overwhelming. It is when you now build these 4 things that are your personality traits that you can be able to even influence people. And influence is just communicating through communication. And remember, communication is a whole big game on its own. Because most of the things we pay attention when we are studying communication is not the critical things in communication. Many of us think that the main thing about communication is that I say something and you answer back. But there are deeper things in communication that exposes to the other individual what is inside of you, your psychological makeup, your psychological foundation. Of course, the Bible said it's not what goes into the man that defiled them. Most things we say are, maybe sometimes we say things that you're like, it's a mistake. It's not a mistake. For you to say it, you have thought about it. But maybe the situation has never allowed you to voice it out. And in anger, in an uncontrolled environment, you burst it out. Whatever you have not thought before is difficult for you to say it in a situation. I remember sometime 3 years ago, there was something going on in my office, and I made a comment. 3 of my colleagues came to my office and told me, Madam Uche, no, that comment didn't sit well in your mouth. And to me, I was trying to flow with the joke. I just wanted to make a gist. Everybody was throwing their jabs, and I felt like, let it not be like I'm always guided. I just throw my own. People laughed, but some of my colleagues took their time to come and tell me, Madam Uche, you see that joke you did? That is not you. Because maybe over the years, they've studied me that maybe they've seen that this lady is intentional about the things she says. That's how we build leadership. That's how we build character. When people around you can see that, you see this action, it is not her, so she needs help. But when your character has gotten to the page where anything you do, my dear, leave her now. This one, the one where she do yesterday. That means psychologically, something is wrong and you need help and support to even identify it. So who is a leader? Understanding the psychology of leadership will help you build stable behavioral tendency. That is what I just explained. When you have built those things that are your personality traits, no matter the condition where you are, there are ways you will handle things because the foundation has been built. It shapes your leadership style by default. And of course, we all know there are some people I will call on this call, and many of you will tell me, even if the person give me pen, I sign them, I know still trust her. Because over the years, you've seen that those people are not credible. So how can you trust them? And I think that is what many of us that have lost hope in the leadership style in the environment where we are would have experienced over time. When someone over and over have always disappointed, has not kept to their word, has not been empathic, you start learning how to survive on your own because there is no need. Are there risks? Yes, of course. Every strength has its risk. And we're going to be looking at the biases as we are going down. Of course, every single strength you have as a leader, there is a shadow. In psychology, most things, we always say there is always the other side of it. When you are a confident leader, if you don't have modulating factors guiding you, before you know it, you become overconfident. And that time, it's a disaster. Empathy can lead people into avoidance. And of course, people that like to controlling is part of the job of a leader, am I right? But if you don't modulate controlling, you become a micromanager. And I don't know if there's somebody here who has worked under a micromanager. Sometimes you wake up and you feel useless. Because the manager will even tell you how to brush your hair. That's how micromanaging can be. So I've had people who come to section and what they tell me is that, Madam Uche, I in this job, I feel worthless. As in, it's like I don't know anything. So what are the risk factors? If you don't work on building the psychological foundations of you as an individual who is about to become a leader. Number one is power isolation. What is power isolation? When you have become so good, that people have noticed that you are not open to feedback anymore. So people start keeping quiet and allowing you make your mistakes. I was telling a client 3 days ago that you've protected this child for a very long time. Now, the next thing I want you to do is to allow the child to make mistake and learn from consequences. As a mother, it didn't sound good to her. But I have seen all her effort in the years to fix a child. And I told her, you know what we're going to do? We are going to look at the risk factors. What are the things that can go wrong that you have been trying to protect this child for? She listed them. I said, okay, this one don't have so much implication. So you see this one, don't guide that child. Allow the child make the mistake and learn from the consequences. This is what happens in power isolation, where the people you're leading have seen that there is no need. So whatever. And before you know it as a leader, you stop having honest feedback. You stop having check-ins. Remember, check-ins are the things that make us know when we are going the right way or the wrong way in anything we do. It is a blessing to actually have people that can give you feedback. Are you aware? Whether they are good or bad feedback. Number 2, risk factor is what we call the competency plateau, where I brought in the confidence and overconfidence, where we start building a very big image on our head based on our so-called experiences. And we start undervaluing learning. And I think that is what is happening in our leadership space, where people will tell you, I have been a practitioner for 20 years. Yes, you have been a practitioner for 20 years, but things are changing. The world is moving. So if you keep on living in the plateau of your competencies, things you learned 20 years, and as a leader, you're not ready to learn, of course, you'll be a disaster to the people around you. You know, the worst thing that can happen to you is being led by someone who has nothing to offer you again. And this can happen to a leader when they enter into the competence plateau, where they start overvaluing their experiences while undervaluing learning. The third one is emotional reactivity. I think I've spoken about it a lot when I talked about the triggers, when we are doing emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Emotional reactivity, where you start confusing authority with control. Please, I want to stop here and ask a question. What is the difference between authority and control? Please, somebody can mute, or possibly someone can mute, then people can also write on the chat box. Confusing authority with control. Madam Bolande, is someone indicating interest to talk?
Not that I'm aware of right now. There's no
Okay,
answer.
so let me go on. Yeah.
Yes.
So emotional reactivity. Okay, Mr. Remy, Remy, please, you're recognized. Thank you.
Yes. Mrs. Tanimola, you have the floor. Go ahead. Mrs. Tanimola, you can go ahead. Oh, maybe we need to unmute her, please. Hero.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I think authority is when you are leading with how you are not rigid, but you are firm, you are assertive, and the boundaries are set. But control is not allowing the followers to express themselves. You say you are in charge. You don't want to hear them out. I mean, to hear them well. And such a leader, in such an instance, you are not even ready to take any feedback. That's what I think.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Any other person? Yeah, let me visit the gate. Okay, I should go. Let me see.
Okay, we have Idausa Ellen. Idausa Ellen says authority is having an edge over others, but they have an opinion.
They have or they don't have?
They have an opinion.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. Confusing authority with control.
Mr. Oyeni or Yudokun, there's a hand up.
Please recognize the individual. Thank you.
Please go ahead, Mr. Idokun.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Authority is when you're in charge, and you still take other people's opinion to make things work. Control is when you don't take decisions from anyone, you don't listen to any opinion, you just, whatever you say is what happens. So I believe that should be.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I think the definitions we've gotten so far are amazing. And most times when we have these psychological deficiencies, we start confusing authority with control. Remember, one of the attributes of why you need psychology as a leader is your ability to read the room. So the fact that people are obeying, people are showing face, you think because they are coming, things are working. But they are coming because they are just scared of the consequences. Not necessarily because they are emotionally invested in that particular thing. And that is why the moment you lose that authority, you become isolated. I've had clients who came, and what is paining them is that when I was the manager, when I was this person, I had a lot of people. People will come December, Sundays, my house is filled up. Now, since I lost the job, I am lonely. You are lonely because when you had the job, like the two speakers said, you felt that they are coming here is because they actually care. They are coming because you have influence, and because if they don't obey, there may be consequences, not necessarily from real respect for the person that you are. This is one of the risk factors of not building the psychological foundations of a leader. Of course, ethical drift. When you start normalizing questionable characters, and even when people point it at you, tell them it's just a small thing, it's not costing us anything. I watched all these short videos they do on television, and somebody went to buy something for the boss, and after buying the thing, she had a change of 200 naira, and on her own, she just decided that it's just 200 naira. She ate it. She didn't return it. 1 week after, the boss called her to the office and said, I sent you somewhere last week. You didn't bring me my balance. She just said, it's just 200. The oga said, it's just 200. Okay, when I'm paying you your salary this month, I'll remove 200. If you see her reaction, at that point, it's no more just 200. 200 became an issue because maybe she has made plan of what the salary is going to do, and now 200 is removed. This is how we start normalizing questionable behaviors. Because ordinarily, if I send you on a message, whether you have 1 naira, it's my decision to tell you to take it. But she felt that the money is small and she doesn't need to return it. This is what happens when you start having ethical drift, where you are no more following the principles that brought you to where you are. Because of course, every position in this life have principles that brought you to that place. And what is the major principle of a leader? Is your ability to sit, listen to the people that you're leading, and come out with the best possible output from the discussion that can move the place, society, organization forward. So these are the risk factors when we have leaders. What are the leadership blind spots? Of course, ignoring weak signals. It's not like they don't notice these things when they start, but because they feel like time will take care of it, they will get used to it. Which is, when you start normalizing questionable behavior, this is the next level you get into, where you just say, it will get normal. Underestimating cultural influences, confusing loyalty with agreements. This is the major issue. That I am following you does not mean I agree to what you're doing. And when you don't have a strong psychological foundation as a leader, you feel that loyalty means agreement. Reading the room is a very good skill for a leader, because that is when you can understand that someone may be following you, but the person does not believe in what you're doing. They're just following you because they need to have food on their table, and following you is doing that. So the leadership blind spot, one of the critical one is when you get to that space where you start confusing loyalty with agreement. And the last but not the least is when you start overestimating self-awareness. Remember, self-awareness is a skill. You keep on growing every day. The person I was yesterday, as I'm here now, by the time I'm done with this section, I will not be the same individual because I've interacted with another population that I don't know before. 1 or 2 things I would have learned here would definitely lead me into learning. But the moment you feel that you have gotten to your peak, even when something to learn is on your nose, you won't even smell it. So that's why sometimes our friends will tell us, smell the cookies, because it's like your nose is no more working. Of course, the nose is the most closest. In fact, nose is like the middle of your face. So anything on your nose should be seen must be seen. That's the expectation. But beyond all these things that we have discussed, these are actually some of the things that predict the leadership motivation, why they do what they do. Number one, they have their own plans, sense of achievement. They have their affiliations. Remember, a leader is not standing as an island. There are many people that work together to get them there. And these people that are part of the affiliation are made up, have their own purposes. And of course, they have a status they are looking forward to achieving. So when you understand these things, you can actually predict their ethical behavior. Because affiliation will tell you the group. And the moment you can study the group dynamics, you can understand why the leader behaves the way they do. Apart from the childhood experiences and other psychological things that have done in the process of interacting with the environment and people to build the person the individual is. We're almost rounding up. Healthy versus unhealthy motivation. So of course, when we look at motivation, which is also a psychological construct that's important in leadership, we look at the healthy ones being the leaders that are service-oriented. Of course, someone who is service-oriented will do some of the things we're saying. They will be humble to listen. They will create platforms to carry everybody along. Even if you don't agree, you understand. You know, there is a difference. I may not agree with you, but I can understand. You know, it's possible to create that kind of environment. I may have reasons why I don't agree with this particular thing, but as a leader, it's your job to make me understand why it has to be like that. That will reduce my personal animosity towards that particular decision because I understand. Unhealthy is all the blind spots and the risk factors we've already discussed. Now, these are traps you have to watch in leadership position. Overconfidence bias. These are social psychology constructs. Overconfidence bias. When a leader has gotten to that peak where he knows everything. So even when he's sitting in the meeting with others, he's just sitting in. He already knows that. In fact, sometimes with somebody will say, I know where you're going to. Like, when I heard that, I asked you, how will you know where I'm going to? Even if I discuss something with you, after the discussion, do you know what has gone on in my head for even the next 1 minute? Sometimes you're talking, someone said, please, don't worry. I know where you're going to. And when you close up your mouth and ask them, where am I going to? My dears, they are not going where you're going. That's what overconfidence does. It removes the ability to listen from you. And anybody who wants to live a happy life must be a good listener. Sometimes I usually joke. When they say somebody is a man of wisdom, a woman of wisdom, I'll tell them there is nothing new. The only thing is that when they are in the room, they are the last person to talk. So they keep quiet and hear from everybody, and they make the best statement, and we say they have wisdom. I always joke about that. But that is one power you have as a good listener. Some of the questions you are trying to throw, if you listen for 1 minute, answers may drop on them actually. So you may not even need to ask them. But we are always in a hurry, especially when we feel like professionally or whatever, depending on the space where you're existing, you've gotten to that space where you are too good. So there is nothing new to learn. Escalation of commitment. These are some of the traps a leader needs to watch. Now look at this image. I need 5 people to interpret this image based on their understanding. So, Madam Bolanle, I'm giving back to you. Recognize 5 individuals too. Tell me how they can interpret this image using what we have spoken about so far.
Okay, please, if you want to say something, just raise your hand, then we'll unmute you. Thank you. Can we see any hand up?
Don't overthink it. Just look at the image, use the picture, just say what you think this picture is trying to say.
No right or wrong answers like we say.
Exactly. We are just having an interaction.
Okay, Mr. Adewale Adekunle, please, can you please unmute him? Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Hero, please unmute Mr. Adewale Adekunle.
Okay. Is the person listening? Can the person hear you? Doesn't I need to unmute him?
Yes.
Okay.
Can we have
Maybe
someone?
he can unmute everyone. Once we are done with that section, he
Yes.
puts it back so that we can proceed.
Okay. Hi, good evening to you, everyone. Thank you so much, ma. So, looking at the image, sorry for the background noise. I'm actually on the comments. So, looking at the diagram, I could see that the person, I would say, is a man. Permit me to say, is a man. The man is healed with, so let's say, has so much to give, and he's actually evaporating. That's the right word. But the man is evaporating, which means he has given so much. Then the person sitting opposite, obviously probably a woman, is distilling a couple of things that, oh, this is what this person has been able to dish out.
Yeah.
Then the woman, I would say, is not giving a little back to the person that has already saturated, has already evaporated. I believe that it's just a cycle that is CYCLE. It's just a cycle that usually should go on in every leadership followership society. Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you so much, sir, for that insight. Okay.
Fantastic. So we have Mr. Ademola Agbola.
Okay, thank you.
Ademola Agbola. Okay.
So I think the hands we have are enough. After this, we go on.
Yeah, we have Mr. Ademola. Then we have
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
What I can see happening in that place is a kind of a pandemonium in the room. I can see smokes. I can see the woman holding something like a cup. I mean, this big something pour inside the cup and everywhere. So what is happening to me in that place is not a conducive atmosphere. So I call it a pandemonium going on, a kind of state of confusion in that place. That's what I perceive. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, we have Stephen. Stephen, you have the floor. Can we please unmute Stephen?
Okay.
Please go
Good
ahead.
evening, everybody.
Good evening.
From the diagram, I see the woman watering the cup that the man is holding. For me, I feel that's the woman instilling maybe knowledge or something, instilling something into the man, but the man has no idea what the woman is doing or whatever it is that the woman is instilling, to him. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you, everyone. At least today, I got more.
Let's have one. Okay, if you don't mind, man, let's have the last.
No, it's okay. Yes,
let's have a chat. I'll take it from the chat.
Okay,
so we have okay. Okay. So Bukola Femi Ajala says, what you give is what you get. What you give is what you get. Okay? Yes. So you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. And I want to, where is the reaction box? Okay. Because I'm presenting, I'm not getting everything. I wanted to send a clap emoji to all the contributors. This is a very beautiful image. This image can interpret a lot of things, but bringing it to the context of what we have here, why it is important for a leader to build their psychological foundation. Let's take it that the woman is a leader in a particular environment. All these smokes are the challenges in the environment. Everybody has their own expectation, their wants, their desires, their assessment of everything. But if a leader has built the psychological foundation of his or her personality, no matter how chaotic, like our guy said, pandemonium, no matter the level of pandemonium, because you have built an enduring character, even when you are trying to solve problems, you can see that they are greenish. This also will tell you that as a people, we all have potentials. When we're in the office, we have potentials. But if we don't have a good leader who who can water us, like someone said, these potentials may not ever be realized. And this is the core reason why I said a leader needs to build resilience and adaptability. Because it's your job. This is also the job we do as psychologists. When you come to section, I sit and I take all the things you're trying to tell me. I will now start leading you to the process of making sense in them. That is actually a leadership role. There will be scarcity, there will be economic, there will be a lot of things not going well. But when a leader has built him or herself, whatever action, whatever reaction, whatever decision they are taking, even with the pandemonium in the room, will always lead to a productive outcome for the people they are leading. So building your psychological foundation is not negotiable if you really want to get the leadership we desire. You can see how that cup, if the woman did not give her the cup, it means that the potentials are there already. She's just watering what you already have. That is what all of us have been talking about, a conducive environment, a place that can recognize you. That's exactly what is happening in this picture. Now the question is, ask yourself, do I have the qualities to be able to do this? If you don't have it and you're aspiring for leadership position, please, you need to go and build it, because this is actually how their life is. And it's your job to build yourself that anything that comes out from your job should be able to lead to productivity and not destroy or escalate conflict that is already existing. People are already not comfortable. People are already not happy. People are already feeling that we are getting what we want. It's not, there is no excuse for a leader to add to that pressure. Your job is to flourish. Of course, we've talked about emotional intelligence, so let's move on. Apart from the psychological things, also in psychology, we don't also play with the sociological or what we call the cultural aspect of a leader. We all come from different environments. Some of us grew up in a home where even normal discussion is crisis. Where come here is even war. Instead of come, it will be come here. So we are grown to live on the edge all the time. Yes, that may be your childhood experience, but it's also your duty as an adult to find ways to modulate those. You have to tell your nervous system, I am safe. We don't need to be reactive again. That's how you build stability. So pressure actually reveals character. So when people say, I behave this way because I am under pressure, no. What pressure actually does is that it brings out what you have inside. But when leaders have built resilience, like I said, and they are adaptable, when they're under pressure, three things happen in their space. They recover, reflect, and learn. Because every experience is meant to give you a learning curve. And that is how you keep on becoming better in whatever you do. So great leaders are leaders who, when they're under stress or pressure, they recover, they reflect, and they learn. And they always come out with something better. And that is why currently, everybody is marketing the integrated leadership model. The leadership model that sees a leader as a holistic individual. Not just someone with opportunity or position, but someone who leading has to involve combining character, people skills, executive functioning, context for sustainable results. And you can see out of these four things, 3 or 4 out of them are psychological constructs. So leadership behavior, in conclusion, we're going towards the end, is a combination of your traits, your motivation, your cognition, your emotional intelligence, the context where you find yourself, and the skills you have built over the years to be able to manage stress. So that is what leads to leadership behavior that we actually see. These are the foundation of leadership behavior. So now we are going to do a little exercise. If you are truthful, you can give us your score, but if not, just keep it to yourself. So we are going to rate ourselves based on the things we've discussed that are psychological about leadership. The rating is 1 to 5. So pick your paper and your pen. If you want to show us, tell us what you scored is okay. So all of them, I reduced them to 2 because of time. So read the question and rate yourself where you are. And we'll be happy to hear 1 or 2 people that will give us honest feedback. So under self-awareness, rate yourself. The 2 things under self-awareness, emotional regulation, rate yourself. Motivation, accountability, people impact, and of course, resilience leads to growth. Because whenever you bounce back after an experience, you are never the same. You have increased your level of tolerance, and that stretching will definitely lead you to a better outcome. So we're going to do this for 5 minutes. So there are just 6 questions. Rate yourself. Rating is 1 to 5. 1 is lowest, 5 is highest. Okay. Mrs. Bolanle, can I go on?
What did you say?
Can I go on?
Well, I think let's see. Let's give another 2 minutes.
Okay,
I thought we were supposed to
thank you.
respond to those questions.
You're meant to put your score. Maybe 1 or 2 people can tell us what they scored total.
Okay. So do we have any scores yet? Okay. Mr. Generala says it's 3 over 5.
Okay. No, you're meant to respond to all of them and get
each of them.
total.
Yes, it's each of them, please. Okay, we have Mrs. Doyola Dunjoye's hand up.
Okay,
so you
ma'am.
can give us your rating.
Yes, dear. Ma'am, can we hear you?
Can we please unmute her? Or try and
Okay.
unmute? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I think, can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
ma'am.
Oh, okay. Good evening, and thank you so very much for the session. So for all, without mixing words, and without exaggerating, I'll say I have a 5 in all. And why I can say I have a 5 in all is because before my last workspace, I might not have been sure of what to respond to for each of them. But because where I worked last before I retired, I had to be in charge of over 200 individuals. And
Interesting.
the difference in their personality helped me to develop myself, because I realized that there was a particular style I was using that was not forthcoming. But because of the different type of training I went through, where when I was at work, I was able to excel graciously. So I can say 5 for all, because I had to deal with different set of people, and it was worth the while at the end of the exercise. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm sure everybody heard Madam Doyi very well. Did she say she was born with the qualities? I'm sure. Did we hear that? No.
Nope.
She said she had to do what? Learn. So
Okay. Well, I think light is off from our side. Whilst we wait for Madam Uchechi to come back, we have Douglas Chukwuma. She said 25 points. 25 and a half over 30. Okay. And what else do we have here? Mr. Kayodiola, 25 and a half. No, 34. Mr. Kayode, how did you get 34? It's over 30. Mr. Kayode, do your maths again. No. It's over 30. Abi, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, over 30. Okay. What do we have here? Mr. General, 30. You got the entire 30. Mr. Mujafo got 23 over 30. Mr. Nimola, you have 43 over 30. I saw now. Let's do it again. It's over because you have 5 into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 30. Okay? Wow. So let's do the math again. Mr. Kajiola, over 60, 12 in all. Okay. I guess we all have our scoring that we're using. Okay, 2 questions to 1. Okay, well, we're just meant to actually just rate ourselves ratio 1 to 5. So self-awareness, 1 to 5, what do you have? Emotional regulations, 1 to 5, what do you have? Purpose and motivation, what do you have? Accountability, people impact, resilience, and growth. Right, so you're just supposed to score either 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. All right? Mr. Oyeni Oyedotun has 25 over 30. All righty. Love J, please, you will need to add up everything. Add up your entire, but from what I'm seeing here, you probably have about 20, 26 and a half or so. You need to add everything, add it up. Our speaker is off for now. When she comes back up, we would, then please, it's going to be time for Q&A for the next few minutes we have left. Mr. Olosanya James, 24 over 30. Mr. Ono. No, Mrs. Ono. Mrs. Ono has 30 over 30. Fantastic. Okay, Stephen, 20 over 13 all. Okay. Love J, 27 and a half. Okay, over 30. All right. What else do we have there? Samsung SM. I don't know who this person is, so I want to assume that you're an outsider. I've said it like 3 times. Please rename yourself. And I'm not getting a response from, so I'm not going to read out your score. Samsung SM, rename yourself. Who are you? Are you a participant or are you an intruder? Who are you? Rename yourself, rename yourself. Professor Doi, 30 over 30, no. Collect all the scores, everything. Carry go. For me, Sha, I have 29 over 30. 29 over 30. That is what I have. So I needed to just dash our speaker 1 mark. Where else? Has everybody dropped? Hero, please let me know when she's back online so that we can, I think she's rounded off already. We just need to do this icebreaker. Idausa Ellen has 20 over 30. Okay. I'm sorry, General Gompson. Please say it. Say it. I may not be able to scroll up. Just tell me. Say it again. You said you're not calling my own. The general. Yeah, tell me. 28 over 30. Correct. All done. 28 over 30. BFE, I've not seen your own. No. And I'm still waiting for our Samsung to, because the secretariat may not be able to record your name. So it's very important that you put your name there. Okay?
The
Olaniro,
facilitator will
yeah,
join
okay.
us shortly. She'll join us shortly. She's encountered some technical issues.
28 over 30.
She'll join
Okay,
us
she's having
shortly.
technical issues, right?
Yes, but
No
she'll join
problem.
us shortly. I just spoke with her.
Okay. Abioto, you just like, I'm just gonna take, I'll take a deep breath. At there any time that you have to lose it over your constituency or the constituent itself?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Or well, I lost it today.
Okay, I said do you have any real life scenario that you would like to share with us?
Yes.
As a leader, yes. When you lost it, let's be real. When you really actually did lose it, you lost it.
Yeah, I have a specific scenario where I lost it, and I got so angry that I had to curse the person.
Oh my God.
What actually happened was I got a call from somebody in the local government that I didn't know. And when they called me, they were pleading that they were at the hospital. The wife had to go through an operation to give birth, and they couldn't pay the hospital bills, and they can't leave the hospital. And I asked them what hospital it was. When they told me, I said I know the doctor. So I put a call through to the hospital and told them to go ahead with the operation. And they should send the accounts and the payments. I made the payments. And I think it was over 250,000 about that. And just about 4 days after, I got a call from that same person telling me, thank you. They are back home, mother and son doing fine. And I was like, we thank God. And the next thing he said was, now we are home, sir. But we have not gotten money to buy the goods for the naming ceremony. I just lost it. In the first place, you waited for 9 months. You were watching your wife get pregnant, and you didn't make any arrangement for any payment. And after I took up the payment, the next thing he was just telling me that the goat and the amala, the lubo they will use for the naming ceremony. I didn't know when I went off on him.
Hello? Hello. Yeah, I'm on.
All righty. Are you done? Are you done with that? That was
Yes,
quite
I am.
hilarious. Thank you so much. That is so real and very practical. Honestly, thank you for coming back. So we're just engaging whilst you were away. And one of our chairmen of the local government in Ogbomoso is one of participants here. And he shared the situation where he had to pay for one of the constituents, what's it called now? Childbirth at the hospital. And he got home, and the next thing he was asking for again was money for. I found that very ridiculous.
I entered at that point.
Money for the ceremony. So he said he had to curse him. So what do you call that kind of leadership? He lost it. So we're just trying to talk about the scenario.
I want you to tell us when that message came in, what did you do, sir?
He cursed him. Oh my goodness.
Oh God.
He said he almost cost. He said he cost him that you can't be. You must be joking. You waited for 9 months.
9 months
for you to get this done. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you, sir. So the truth is, like I said, that was why I brought this image and told you, if you're not ready to carry all this smoke, stay in your space because leadership will try you. Oh God. Oh God. Okay, so let's look at the risk. The things you start seeing as a leader and you know that you actually need some support. Number one, the first warning sign that something is wrong with your internal system, let me use that word, is when you start noticing that you become so defensive. Of course, there are some things that when you are challenged, you need to explain yourself. But there is a difference between defending and explaining, especially in situations where people are trying to share with you their challenges. Number two, you start escalation of control. You start blame shifting and you start withdrawing under stress. Yes, I always get this question. If I see that I am getting to my level of tolerance has been stretched, is it not good for me to withdraw? Taking a break is different from withdrawal. That's what we need to understand. Literally they mean the same thing. But the truth is, Taking a break is different from withdrawal. Taking a break is an activity you engage in to be able to get out of a situation, to see it from an outsider viewpoint, so you can take the right decisions. But withdrawal is a place where you become cynical. You don't have any emotional attachment to solving that problem. These are the things you start seeing. These are them. So we need to be aware of. You start regulating your essence. Of course, when I said something about essence are the things that make who you are. We all have our values. We have our belief system. We have our perspective. These are the foundation of who we are. Before we started mixing up with people and learning all the things. You talk more than you listen. You justify instead of inquiring. You feel indispensable. You stop being challenged. Once you're in a leadership position and it's like nothing else is challenging you, something is wrong. You react emotionally to feedback. And of course, you start prioritizing being right over being effective. Sometimes a situation doesn't necessarily need it to be right. A client came to have a section. She was going to have a difficult conversation with the manager. So she booked for a section to discuss how to discuss that particular issue. So at the end of the session, I asked her, I said, when you go to the section, is your end goal? She said, the end goal is for the manager to do exactly what she wants. I told her that is why most times we keep on hurting on things that have moved on. I told her when you're having a difficult conversation, apart from achieving your goal, your end game will be three things: to be heard, to be respected, and to be considered. Because if a manager will sit for 1 hour listening to you, it should tell you that you are an important member of that particular organization. You know, she took some time to think about what I was trying to say. So in the second section, she told me, Madam Uche, you know, that thing you told me actually disturbed me. Because after we are done, I also sent her a workbook. I told her, use this workbook to develop your discussion. But she said when she was developing the workbook, she now found out that I was saying the right thing. I said, most times, it's not about being right. The fact that you were listening to, the fact that there was a time given to you should be a step in winning. That means next time your desire can be granted. So how do you do this? Especially for our chairman that just shared his experience. Being reactive, sincerely, is a natural human instinct. Becoming a responder is a skill. Nobody wants it. We are all naturally, you see that way when you come into, when a dog is giving birth and you come near and the dog comes upon you, every human being is naturally protective of what is personal to them. It may be your idea, it may be your opinion. Of course, remember, one of the critical places you need to set boundaries is in your ideas and your opinions, because your ideas and your opinion are the foundation of your self-worth. If I'm sitting here and I'm talking and I feel like people are not listening to me, I'll start doubting my ability. So this is the way you can rewire your reaction. Is a mental strategy to stay strong under pressure. You turn pressure into data. What can I learn from there? Laying your boundaries, challenge your assumptions, because of course, some pressures come to you to challenge your assumptions. I tell people values are good, but as a growing individual, are you aware that you are meant to be reevaluating your values? Because the values you had when you had limited knowledge may not be necessary with the level of growth you have attained. So if you are living your life and you don't sit down to reevaluate your values, your assumptions, you may actually be under a lot of pressure as an individual in relating with other people. Values are meant to be guiding principles. They are not meant to be laws that we must obey. How do we develop leverage points? Of course, strength, regulation, motivational awareness, slowing decision. When you learn how to control your emotions, you find out that your decision-making principles will also become a little bit slower. So you take more time to evaluate things before you speak. Emotional discipline. And remember when I said a leader that has built resilience, recover, reflect, and learn. It's a principle that can help you get more leverage in situations that are putting you under pressure. So, why do psychological foundations most limit your leadership experiences today? So these are questions you ask yourself. Which particular one is holding you back from being that leader you want to be? And if we sincerely now ask this question, the next step is seek help. And your help can be, if they are mainly maybe childhood traumas, personality-related issues, unresolved life issues, what with the ACEs, advanced childhood experiences that are still holding you back. At that point, you need a psychologist. If you feel that is more of getting a particular skill in an area, you need a coach. You feel there are people that you have watched their life, you like their leadership principle, and you want to be like them, you approach them and make them your mentors. These are the 3 people that can actually help you in this space to build that kind of leader who has a grasp on their psychological foundation so that they can always give out the right values to the people they are leading. Key takeaways. Character strengths are essential for effective leadership. Don't think that we are just saying it, let's just talk about it. You need to work on it. The intersection of psychology and faith can also affect your leadership. Know that. Because your belief system is also the foundation of how open you can be as an individual. Understanding the psychological aspects of leadership crisis is crucial for you as a leader. Purpose is key element in effective leadership. Resilience is necessary for leaders facing emotional challenges. Positive emotions can significantly impact leadership effectiveness. Remember that picture I showed where the leader said, I am important. And before you know it, everybody in the team is feeling that way. Prayer and compilation are vital for personal and leadership growth. There is no way you can be good without going back to the person who made you. So we're not saying it now from the Christianity or faith foundation of our religion. The truth is that we all believe in something. The moment you start having disconnect with that your belief system, it will definitely affect you as a leader. So one of the things a leader should do, which is also a psychological foundation, because in psychology, we also believe that your belief system is a critical part of who you are, is to make sure that there is always a synergy between your belief system and who you are. Integration of psychology and spiritual practices is essential for holistic leadership. Because who is the best person to ask about a product, if not the person who made it? And for us, if you believe in God, you know that who made you is God. So when you're having challenges, what's the best thing to do? We all believe that the best thing to do is to pray, and God will lead us. And if you're a Christian in this call, you believe in the Holy Spirit. Whatever your belief system is, we are not here to tell you your belief is wrong or right, but make sure that the principles and the foundation of that belief system, you're always in tune with it, because it will help you during pressure. Leaders should focus on their strength to improve well-being. Remember, you cannot give what you don't have. Mental health is important. When your leadership style is putting you under pressure all the time, and you are neglecting the stress that is building up over the years, the time you may want to work on it, it may be too late. Last year, I had an organization in Allen invite me over because a very vibrant staff just came to the office. And because towards the afternoon time, he always wants to stay on his own. In the afternoon, he stayed on his own. Someone said, he has stayed so long. Somebody said, but that's the way he always do it. After like 30 minutes, the person fell on the ground. By the time they got to the hospital said the man died like 30 minutes ago. These are the little stress. See, stress is good. But the moment you start seeing that the stress is putting a lot of pressure on you, seek help. Seek help. Because sometimes it is not when it happened that it started. It has been giving you, the body will always communicate. You'll be seeing the signs and symptoms. When you do a little thing, you're tired, small thing irritates you, you're easily burnt out. You find out that you stand up now and you're going to the fridge. When you get to the fridge, you can't remember you were going for a bottle of water. This is your body telling you, I am under pressure. I need time to cool down. But because we want to be active, we want to acquire everything in life, we always want to be present. Remember, those people you want to be present for, if you die, they will still survive. So taking care of your mental health is also a very critical part of your leadership psychological foundation. And when a leader is able to create a positive emotional climate, he or she is the major benefit. Because when people are operating in a conducive environment, we always get the best out of them. So finally, you can dare to be different as a leader. Yes, we have lived over the years. So many of us have lost faith in leadership. Many things have made us not to ever believe in them. But you can dare to be different. I think that's why the institution is going through all these processes, sharing all this knowledge. Because it's your duty to tell yourself, I can be different. And one of the critical ways to do it, apart from all the things I have listed, is auditing your biases. Our biases are the foundation of the way we react to things. Once in a while, sit down and ask yourself, the way I feel about this thing, do I have evidence? Is there something I need to change? Do I need to talk to a professional to make me understand better? So leadership, for me, is control, is everything. But leadership is a leader owns responsibility, not control. True leadership is accountability, not actually authority. Power commands, leaders take responsibility. And I can say it here without mixing words, that the countries that we think are working is because the leaders in places have come to understand that their job is not just to have authority and influence. Their job is to take responsibility. When a leader will get to a point where even when the decision is wrong, you will take responsibility. Take responsibility builds accountability. So I think what we are missing in many leadership experiences we have in this side of the world is that people take authority, they influence, but when there is problem, they start blame shifting. Nobody takes responsibility. And because you feel like you can always escape the consequences of your actions because you do not take responsibility, people take leadership for granted. Leadership means your ability to answer for those you influence. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity and for listening.
Oh, I feel like you shouldn't stop.
But we are working with time. I was so checking.
I know, but we have stretched. Our people have gone to work today, and for us to sit here meant that you're making sense. Please, thank you for all the emojis. Hope you're catching all the ups and the claps and the love. Take your flowers. Please take your flowers from me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Oh, I love the person who's blowing the loves there. You've said so much this evening. I'll not be able to recap everything. However, I'm just going to take it in a very I'll gloss over them. So really, I like the scenario you painted of you started by asking that where would you rather be if not in Nigeria? Where would you rather be? Anyway, so we had more people say Nigeria. And that, of course, navigated us into the conversation of who exactly a leader is. So, and we're talking about leadership that's got so much, the leaders the leadership failures are really technical. Pressure reveals a leader's default operating style. And we talked about the psychology part of it. You talked about the psychological drivers of leadership behavior, why people behave the way they do, and who, of course, is a leader. So really, at the School of Citadel, School of Government, each time we talk about leadership a lot because really it's all about leadership and statecraft. And usually the question of are leaders born or made is always coming up, and we've come to the conclusion of really that it can be a bit of this and that, but really leaders can, they can be made. That school of thoughts has come to stay that it can really be made. So really that leader must be able to shape, that leadership style by default, influencing other with a lot of credibility. You talked about the strength and risk. You talked about authority and control, motivational needs. It's so much. I'm sure we're going to get the slides from you. The traps, how to avoid those traps, very important. He talked about the scenario, repeated that scenario. I mean, that's for me just totally nailed it. That, as leader here, and all of us put ourselves in the shoes of a fuming leader, a frustrated leader who just felt that, what, I can't deal. And you just lose it. And we're able to come up with another practical example with one of the participants here. The practical you gave of rating ourselves, you were off at that time. And the rating was between 22 to about 30. Okay. 22 to about 30. So we had a lot of 25 and a half. We had 30 over 30. 30. I scored 29 over 30. So I give you 1 point back. So I'm holding on to the 29.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So in all of this, you've been able to give us a takeaway that character strengthens are essential for effective leadership, and leaders should focus on their strength to purpose well-being. And of course, resilience is necessary for leaders, the emotional challenges. I believe emotional intelligence has come to stay here, and every leader here must wear that cap, or being able to do at per time how you react and how you respond will determine how your followers are going to gather or they move away from you. Okay, that's just a very short recap. You said a lot, so there's no way I can recap the entire 1.5 hours in 2 minutes.
Well done.
So we've had Mr. Douglas and Obsins, Chukwuke. So 1 minute, if you have any question, please raise your hand. Then we can use the next 10 minutes to do our Q&A, then we'll call it an evening. So Mr. Douglas, you have the floor. Go ahead. I know you have the question in the chat room, and it will be better you say it now so that we can. Yes, you have Mr. Douglas. Please unmute him. So they're asking for the presentation. I'm sure we'll get it. Okay, I think he asked the question here that what's control escalation in essence?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I can.
Okay. I was raising my hand not really because of the question I asked earlier. I can look that up in the dictionary later. But I had a question for you at the point you were talking about reactions, how leaders should react. So, and I was forced to reflect back at the video I was watching earlier in the day. And that video, before I go into it, is to comment that many of us said that we would like to be born in Nigeria. And for me, I said so with a very heavy heart. I said so not with lots of excitement, and if you go to some other groups, you are not going to get this level of enthusiasm. What you just witnessed is the output of the work that Pastor Bakure has done on us. Without what he has been talking about, hammering upon, I don't think I would have any level of faith whatsoever on the project Nigeria. But thank God for him. I am very proud as it is today to be a Nigerian, right? The professor that talked about preferring to be a German, I could equally have said Norway. I would have wanted to be a Norwegian, and I would give the exact same reason that she gave. I did my postgraduate study in Norway. I love Norway from the bottom of my heart. On the day I came back to Nigeria, I had access to all the Schengen countries. I had a valid US visa. I had a valid UK visa. So I could have gone anywhere, but I came to Nigeria. But what was the reason that I was raising my hand is to make reference to that video of it was a budget defense in the Harlow chambers of the Senate. And it was Senator Natasha Akpoti again. And this lady was, I think she was the vice chair of the Senate Committee on Steel, Power and Steel or something. And the Minister of Power and Steel was there to defend the budget. And I didn't see the whole video, but I saw in the course of that deliberation where she was begging the chairman, somebody that looked like a gentleman, wearing a red cap, which signifies something in my village. And this lady was saying, please do not drop the gavel. I have something to say, and it is important, it is critical, it is necessary. And she was begging and pleading. And the man still dropped the gavel, not once, but twice, and asked the minister to leave. So, and at that point, Natasha stood up. I didn't know what she wanted to do. Without prejudice to all you have taught us this night, which is fantastic, without prejudice to all you have discussed, I would have excused whatever Natasha did, including if she had given that man that other senator with red cap a knock on his head. But she just stood up, she comported herself properly, she packed her belongings, and she was, to me, crying because she was saying, you have disrespected me enough, I just got to go. And this guy had the effrontery to say, no, you can't leave, just please don't go, blah, 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 and all that.
Yes.
So, hello?
Yes, sir. I said we need to put it. Yes, please, we need to round off now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so my point really is this. In the face of this kind of provocation, where should the emotional intelligence of a leader rise and fall? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. Every contribution is meaningful. Do we have any other hand up before we call it an evening?
Okay, can I react briefly to his question?
Please go ahead.
Briefly?
Please go ahead.
Yes. So I think the example you just gave just sealed the importance of the section. I can say that with my full chest. Because what Senator Natasha displayed was a typical someone of high level of self also behave the same way the senator was behaving. And because she has understood her level of tolerance of these issues, that was why she packed herself and left that environment so that her behavior will not be contrary to the foundation of the human being she has built herself to be. I think that's basically, so this story is actually very relevant to us. That was exactly what Senator Natasha displayed, a high level of self-awareness. If I stay, I may not take it anymore. And if I don't take it anymore, in the interest of this country that I love so much, if I don't leave, I may do something that will just baptize that love. I think that's what she displayed there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Quickly, can we have Mr. Pololale David? Quickly. 1 minute.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Madam Uchechi.
Thank you
My
so much,
question
sir.
on the balance is emotional intelligence less of fruit of the spirit or they are equal?
Whoa, this is a very serious question. Of course, there is nothing that can equal the value that we get for being in Christ. They may overlap, but they are not necessarily the same thing. Remember, the Bible listed the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians 5, I think 5:22 to 23. But if you see it, if you are able to inculcate this fruit of the Spirit in your life, now building emotional intelligence will be easy for you. What is emotional intelligence? It's just your ability to recognize your emotions, manage your reactions, understand other people's feelings, and build healthy relationships. And it's coming from a place of self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, and empathy, and all those things we spoke about. So, of course, when an individual is rooted in the Holy Spirit, emotional intelligence will be easier to achieve because most of the things that are listed under the fruit of the Spirit in Galatians are things that can help you build that particular individual. So I will never say that emotional intelligence can equate the fruit of the Spirit. The fruit of the Spirit is a gift you get for identifying with Christ. But having it will make other social, psychological, and biological issues of life more easy because you are now in tune with your maker. And like I said, it's easier for you to go to him and tell him, Daddy, I've been doing this and it's not working. I need you to help me fix this part of my life. It's easier for you because you have that linkage. I think that's how I'll handle that question. Thank you, sir.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ma. Mr. Jacob Promise will need to round off right now. Very important. And, he's asking the question, how do we balance the various traits of a leader in moments of challenges and controversies? How do we balance the challenges and controversies? In the moment of controversies and challenges, how do we balance the various traits of a leader? In 1 minute, if you can quickly just, so that we can round off the meeting.
Thank you, Madam Bolale. But that's a full topic of his own. I'm sure you know
that. I know.
But
absolutely.
the truth is, beyond everything we have said, in the face of controversy, always have it at the back of your mind as a leader that it is my responsibility to ensure that this conflict doesn't disintegrate us, but give us an opportunity to understand each other and move towards a better outcome. I tell parents when I have time to speak to parents, I tell them, if you're a solution-focused parent, your approach is different from a problem-focused parent. I think that's how I will answer that question. So of all these things, your ability to have it at the back of your mind that my job as a leader is to be responsible enough to lead this discussion, whether good or bad, towards a productive outcome. A place where after the outburst of emotion, we can still be able to sit together and calm down and lead to a better way. And one of the skills that will make that possible for you is a very good active listening skill. Don't interrupt people when they are angry, even if they are not making sense. It's a gift of God for you to actually be calm and listen. Because in listening, you find out where their pain point is, and you can address it the right way. I think that's what I'll say for that. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So I'm handing over to Iro now. It's been quite a very beautiful voyage of learning on how to really be a leader that listens and not the one that is so authoritative in the way he acts, and not the ones that go all crazy when things go south. Thank you so much. My name remains Bolanle Edwards, and I'm representing the National Trailblazer participants. If my people are here, say hi to everybody. Thank you so much. Iro, you have the floor. Hi to everyone. Bye.
All right. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
We
Can you hear me?
Clearly, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mrs. Uchechi Chukwuma. Thank you to our amazing moderator. I believe she did exceptionally well. That was a wonderful moderation from you. Can we just use the applause emoji for our moderator? Thank you very much, Mrs. Bolanle Edwards. Another thank you to our facilitator, Dr. Uchechi Chukwuma. So right now I'll be handing over to the executive director of Citadel School of Government. Is he on the call? He would like to give, yes, he's here. He would like to give votes of thanks. So I'll be unmuting him now. He'll be giving vote of thanks. So please welcome the executive director, Citadel School of Government, Mr. Omaholo Omakalen, to give the vote of thanks. Mr. Omo, over to you, sir. You can unmute.
Thank you very much, Hero. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Thank you very much. What can I say to Madam Uchechi? I'm somewhat overwhelmed, and I'll tell you why. First of all, you practice what you preach, because there was a slight communication gap leading up to this, and then just a couple of hours before we started, I called her, and that communication gap was highlighted. And the way she managed it, I knew that this is someone that has strong emotional intelligence. And so, and so while you were just teaching, that came back to mind, and I was really, really glad that we brought you. And the second thing that came to mind was a story. I know we're not all Christians here, but permit me to refer to this Bible story when that woman at the well went back to Samaria to tell everyone that she had seen the Messiah, and they all welcomed Jesus and listened to him. And after everything, they told her, it is not because, yes, we first believed because you said it, but now we believe because we ourselves have heard. Madam Uchechi was recommended, strongly recommended by Mrs. Mabel Okerea. For those of us who know Mabel, will know who I'm talking about. We had invited Mabel, and she told us that she's a clinical psychiatrist, I think, or clinical psychologist, that she knows someone who can do this very well, and she recommended Madam Uchechi. She sent the bio, and I read it. I said, "Wow, this is great! This is great!" And we started doing all the invitations, mobilizing. But now, it is not because you were recommended.
A totally different
Hello?
design. That's what you're asking.
It is not because you were recommended. We have seen for ourselves. And you're really amazing. I was telling my management team, we're going to do everything we can to get you back next year. And we will, because really you've done amazingly well, and we're so grateful. And I want to tell the participants that Madam Uchechi did this for free for us. She is a consultant. She has a firm. She renders services to firms like yours. What we have here are leaders of various organizations. We have CEOs, we have MDs, we have a local government chairman, we have global leaders of global organizations. I'm sure as she spoke, you could tell that the organization needs someone like her. We are 120% recommending her to your organization. If you want her to come facilitate sessions, reach out to us. We will give you her contact straight away. She is available to do that. So thank you so much, Madam Uchechi. And of course, Mrs. Edwards, Bolanle Edwards, like Hero has said, your moderation was so on point. And when there was a gap somewhere, you just filled in the gap. You began to bring out what Madam Uchechi had taught, one after the other, systematically. That's the hallmark of a powerful moderator. And thank you for blazing the trail. Indeed, that's what you've done.
Thank you so much.
Your group is called Trailblazers. You've really blazed the trail because you're the first participant to moderate a session.
Thank you.
And so thank you very much.
Thank you.
We are grateful. Thank you everyone for staying. Thanks to the great team of the Citadel School of Government. They are here today. Hero, Fatima, Clementina, Abimbola, Onyinyechi, Akban. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. We will give you a break for the next 2 weeks. There will be no webinar because you'll be preparing for your exams, and then we'll come back powerfully. Thank you, everyone, again. Thank you again, Madam Uchechi. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much, sir, especially for the kind words. I pray I will live up to them because now you put me under pressure. Thank
So
you,
I just
sir.
wanted to speak that National Trailblazers, your X space is on Tuesday.
Okay.
National FS,
Okay.
so
Okay.
prepare for that.
All right.
Yes, sir.
That's Hero. Let's end it.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining this edition of the webinar series. So till we see in the next edition, remain blessed. We'll see you in class on Saturday. Saturday's class, remember, it will be at University of Lagos Human Resources Development Center this Saturday, same time, 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. So take care, everybody. And thank you for joining this edition. God bless you.
Thank you. Good night.